So this is part 2 of our video where we're going to try to actually add the map and get the home button to work in that. So I'm going to have to shut down my Vite server. Probably the first thing I need to do is probably install, because I want a map, I'm going to need to get the JavaScript API in that. So we'll new terminal and we'll do a little bit of an install. Now these won't be development dependencies. My final production app would actually need the ability to use the JavaScript API. So npm m install, and this is going to be at ArcGIS /core at latest. You can do the hyphen save thing, but just don't do the dev part and that. And that'll go off and install it. There's probably going to be a little bit of a hit there as well. And I'm also going to be using some snippets that we've used before in that. And we'll see. So the first challenge is going to be, hey, to get a map up. So while that's doing its thing, so I have some snippets here. And so I'm going to drag this across. This is a simple map view one, if I can get it up there. Yeah, so I'm going to grab this code right here, copy it, and put it into my main.js. This should cause an error and that sort of thing. So let's go see. Do I have an error? Ooh, cranky, and that. So, oh, this get connection refused means my thing is not running. So I'll just click on this to get that up and running. That would be a problem. But this should get an error on this once it fires up. In that, it should complain about not finding a particular element on the page. And that. So here it is in all its glory, right? We'll go big screen on that with this working. But am I getting an error, right? And that. So I am, because I thought I should be. It's not finding my map view div. So let's go put that in. And the question will always be, where do you put that? And that sort of thing. So I'm going to go over here, index.html. So this can be tricky. I'm going to shrink some of this up. We want it in the default area, that big area I showed on the previous video, in the Calcite shell. And so all you do is you just add the component here. It'll be a div, and that, and it will be ID is equal to, and I think in code it's view div, right? That might be enough. Let's slide it. Ooh, it is. I saw it update on my other screen. There it is, and that, right? Happy. We're gonna have to fix this part here because that's actually not supposed to be there. So we have something in the wrong slot, not uncommon, and that sort of thing. And so let's get that fixed. Okay. So, or we'll leave it here on the screen so that we can show what's going wrong. Remember, I said I was going to mess some of these up on purpose so that we could fix them in that. Because that's the important part, right? Because trying to figure out this whole slot thing and that. Well, one is this actually is not supposed to be like this. It's just supposed to be content behind and that. That did not fix anything, just so you know, right? That did not get fixed in that. We have a shell panel, we have an action bar that goes into the action bar of the shell panel and that, and we have a calcite shell panel going into the panel start of the shell, which is all good stuff. So a little bit of a bug hunt, but we'll get it solved. So one thing to try is to, the way the panel's set up is probably by default it is docked. And so we kind of make it float above, so we'll try that. This should be like a display mode, yes. And this should be float. And where is the browser? There it is. Ooh, that's looking better. Oh, that was the problem then. Floating panel versus a dock panel. Okay, so we got the map and we got the home button, but nothing is happening yet. Okay, but this is working more like the way we want it to. In that, so it's a little magic setting there to have it. It's more of like a that it floats above the content. And let's see if when you let's do this, expand it. Notice the map doesn't move, right? So it's floating above. Something we were looking for. So that's all fantastic. But we got our map in. Now the big thing is going to be, well, how do we actually I guess hook into the concept that when someone clicks that home button, right, that we basically zoom back to the initial extent and that sort of thing. So we're going to need something called an event handler. So we got to listen to people clicking on the panel in that, and then it's going to be, well, who do you want to listen to in that? And so if we go back to our index, who we probably want to listen to is the action bar, right? And that. So we could use a query selector to find this one, and that should kind of get us started. So we're going to declare a function in that. So let's just go over here. We can, and you can call it anything you want, I guess, at this point. Do a const. So we're going to make a function, and it's going to be on click. I guess, why not? Action panel. Panel, and this is going to be a function. That means a function. One thing is, we're going to get some arguments here. And one of the things we're going to get is an object called target in that. And then we need some braces there. And that's, wouldn't hurt to put a semicolon in here either on that. Now we got to flush out what that code's going to be. I guess we should say missing an equal sign. Now it's happy. So I'm making a little function on the fly called onClick Action Panel. It's going to handle people clicking on the action panel and that. And one of the biggest things we probably do at first is just do a little console. There it is, console.log. And we hope that target dot dataset. This is one way to do it. We're going to go back and add some stuff. Dot action ID. So if action ID and that, yeah, that should probably work. Nothing's going to happen right now. Well, no, let's try it. It should get undefined and that. So I'll bring it onto the screen and that sort of thing. And I'll click here, right? Oh, we haven't hooked up the event handler either, so that won't happen. But something we have to do in our index.html is actually use those data kind of slots. And these are these data slots that are built in, and action -ID. You just got to remember that the hyphens are going to go away, and it gets converted to camel case on the JavaScript side. And we'll call it lowercase home in that. So what we should see happening in the console once we hook it up is basically, I guess, the word home coming across. And if we got that, then there's hope that we can proceed further in that. Now, one thing is, this is all good, but we need to find basically maybe through the document.query selector. It's one way to do it. I like get element ID. I think it is in HTML, and it's find element by ID on Android. So we'll go. There's query selector, and then who you looking for, and that. And so we're looking for this thing. Might as well go all the way back here and get the proper name. We're looking for this thing called the action bar. So if anyone clicks anywhere on the action bar, we want our code to kick off in that. So that would go in there, right? Calcite action bar, and then we're going to add an event listener, and that's going to be like on click or yeah. Click, and who do we want to run? On click panel in that. We'll see. That could work. It'll be very curious in that. Well, I guess you know what? Let's put a semicolon in here, right? But this is basically how we say hook this function to our action panel. We have to be very careful about who do we actually hook it to and that. And so I'll come across here, and so it's this thing that can collapse and expand is the action panel. So if anyone clicks on this, we should see a message over here in that. So I can see home happening, and if I click here, undefined, which is expected. What about collapse? Well, it's picking up that I'm clicking on it, and that it's and so we only want to do something if it says home. Basically, but what it means is that, hey, we can detect someone clicking on that home button, which is, I guess, awesome in that. And so one thing would be, we'll see, we'll go back to our code, this one here. We're going to need, I guess, something called, really good question, it's called a home model. And that will the imports work? This is where it's not fun. So if I said home view, yeah, it's not picking it up. So what do you do, right? And if IntelliSense is failing you, what do you do? We're going to go to ArcGIS, and we'll go to Maps, SDK, JavaScript, perfect. We'll go in here and we'll go into the API reference, and I'm looking for the home view model, I think. Yeah, this is the guy I'm looking for here. And up at the top, it'll give you the import statement. So we'll go with that. There's going to be, if I ever find out the little switch to get IntelliSense working, we will add that to our startup one for sure. And so I need one of these in that. And then I need to make one of them. Do it, make sure you have your map view made. Okay, that's important. And then I'll go here and we'll just, I guess we'll call it, we can go const at this time. Well, yes, why not? And we'll call it home VM for view model is equal to a new. I always forget that. View model, this one right there, that's the one in that. Now the one thing you have to send it is the view that because you can have more than one map on your page. So the view we want to send it is the view we made before. Now it's view in here, which is fine. The big thing is, what did you call it there, right? That's the big thing. And what we will hope for, is order important? Yes, in that. So in here, we'll do a little if. So if, and might as well grab this, target ID is equal to home. I think it's lowercase home. Yeah. Then we'll do something. Ooh, we need, fighting with the IDE about who's putting the parentheses in. That's what's happening there. Need a little brace. And then I would have to say get the view and dot zoom to the home view model dot view or viewpoint. Oh, we'll have to go check the documentation on that. So let's go check the documentation. It's going to be the home view model. I think it's dot viewpoint is the deal. That has some geometry in there that you can zoom to and that kind of deal. So let's see. Who knows if this could blow up. Let's go find out if it's working or not working in that. So let's get back here in that. So we've zoomed off in that uncaught. View.zoom is not a function. Oh, go to wrong library, right? It's another library that uses the zoom. I think theirs is view.go. Let's go to this particular viewpoint. Let's see if that fixes it in that. We got all the way in there though, right? That's the big thing. We did get in there and that sort of thing. Oh, look at that. Nice, 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 nice. Our home button is now working with a click without any extra view coming up. So this gets into some other topic it's called, was it view model sort of thing, where the view, right, which right now is just a little icon, that's our view for the user, is not embedded with the view model. We tear them apart, and that way you can have different ways of doing that interaction. Sometimes they put a little button on the map, and that's a map widget, so that's a different view because that's a button that floats above the map. But this is a Calcite icon, which is just like a div kind of deal in that. So I think that's working. That's successful. So that basically concludes the second video.